Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In the previous videos, we have seen different kinds of operation that can be performed on arrays. We have successfully completed all the operations that can be performed on arrays. I hope the concept arrays and the operations that can be performed on it is very much clear to you all. We also have seen the implementation of all this. Now it's time to move forward to learn a new concept of nested arrays. So the statement says that the arrays inside another array are nothing but nested arrays. The definition is very simple. Let's visualize it with an example. So here we have taken an example of a normal array. So you can see that this particular normal array is containing 7 elements. The indices starts from 0 and are ending at 6. Now is this a nested array? No. Let's focus on the indices 2, 3 and 4. Here you can see that each element is different from each other, hence they are located at different locations. Now what if we remove these 3 separations? You can see that we have removed the separations. And now let's club all these 3 indices to a single location. So after combining all these 3 indices into a single location, we can clearly see that these 3 elements are now located at a single location. But the representation is quite unobvious. So for that, we will club all these 3 into an array. So now you can see that at index 2, we have a different array which is inside the larger array. So this is what array inside array is, and which is called as nested array. So you can see that this small array of 3 elements is inside the large array, and this is located at a single index. I hope the concept of nested arrays is clear to you all. Now let's have a look how we can implement this nested arrays in Python language. So now we are inside the code editor, and I'm sure that you remember that we use array library for building an array inside Python. So we have imported the array library. Now let's initiate an array and store it inside the variable a. The array is of the type integer. Now since we are going to create nested arrays, so we will pass the nested array list inside that as a parameter. So you can see that we have initiated list of elements with a nested array inside it. So now pause the video and tell me whether this cell will execute or not, whether it is going to throw an error or whether it is going to get executed successfully. Now let's run this particular cell, and we can see that the cell has thrown an error, and the error says an integer is required. Why? Because we already specified that the type of the array will be of integer, and array library in Python does not support the violation of array rules. So we cannot create nested arrays using the array library in Python. So for creating the nested arrays, we can either use the concept of list or the NumPy arrays. In the previous videos, I already have discussed what are list and what NumPy arrays are. If you haven't watched it yet, check out my arrays playlist. Now here we have defined a list of elements inside which we have also embedded a nested array, and we have stored it in a variable named arr. So you can see that it has got executed successfully because the concept of list says that it does not require same data type throughout. So you can see that the array variable has now successfully stored the nested array. Now we will check the type of the variable. it is a list, because irrespective of the type of the elements that you put inside the list, the type of that particular list will remain as list only. Now let's play with this nested array. Let's try to check the length of the array. You can see that the length of the array is 8. Inside our array we have total 7 integer elements and 1 nested array inside it. So you can see that entire nested array located inside that list is considered as a single element inside the array. So total 7 and 1 gives us 8 as the length of the entire array. Now let's define one more array which contains multiple nested lists inside the outer array. So you can see that inside the entire array we have one nested list inside which we have again defined one more nested list. So you can see we can define as many nested lists or as many nested arrays inside the outer array. This is what the concept of nested array is. Now let's see how we can search for an element inside the nested array. So we will look at it with the help of an example. So here we have taken an array of 5 elements starting from index 0. At index 2 we have a nested array of 3 elements. Let's say we need to search for the element 10 inside the entire array. So let's have a look at the steps from which we can perform this particular operation. Now since the element is located inside the nested array, so first step is to reach at the location where the nested array is located inside the entire array. Once we reach into that location where the nested array is present, then we need to search for the element inside that nested array. So first reach at the nested array and then look for the element inside that nested array. Now you can loop through step 1 multiple times if you have multiple nested array inside the outer array. So I hope these steps are clear to you all. Now let's see how we can perform this particular steps in the example. So as I said, the first step is to reach the nested array. Here the nested array is at location 2. So the counter will check whether the current location is 2 or not. It's not, therefore it will move forward. Again it will check, since the location is not 2 and the element is not an array, so it will move forward. So at location 2 you can see that the element is an array. So it will stop here. Now it will perform the second step. Now for performing second step we need to focus on this particular nested array. So let's focus at location 2. So inside location 2 we have again an array that contains index starting from 0 and ending at 2 because there are 3 elements. So now the task is to iterate over this particular nested array. So the counter will start from the first element. It will check whether the current element is equal to the element to be searched. In our case, yes, they are equal, hence it won't move forward and it will stop here. So finding the location, we can see that we have got this nested array inside the location 2, and inside the location 2 we have got this element at position 0. So to represent this particular position for that element, we have a notation something like this. First we need to mention the position of the array where we have got the element, which is 2. So array of 2, and then inside that array we have got the element at location 0. So again one more square bracket after that location 2, and inside that we will write 0. So this is the way to represent any element inside the array with its location. I hope the searching is clear. Now let's implement it in Python language. So here we have taken an example of the array which we have stored inside the variable ARR. The array is a nested one. and let's say we need to find the element 54 which is located inside the nested array. We have stored the element that is to be searched inside the variable find. Now let's write a function which will take these two parameters and will give the output as the location of that particular element which is to be found out. So we have declared a function f which takes in two parameter. First is the array in which we need to search for the element, and second is the variable in which we have stored the value of the element that is to be found out. Inside that function we are going to use a for loop to iterate over every element. So for I in the array, we will stop wherever we notice that the current element is of the type array. So if the type of the current element is equal to the list, so here the type of the current element will be checked, and once we get that the current element is of the type list, now we will loop through inside it. So again we will use a for loop to iterate over every element inside it. So for j in I because the variable I contains the element array. So we will check that whether the current element inside that nested array is equal to the element to be searched. Therefore we have used an if condition which will check whether j is equal to the variable find. If yes, then it will return the string that element is found at location. Now here we will write arr since it represents the array. Next, inside the first square bracket, it will write the index of the variable I, where the nested array is located. And in the second square bracket, it will write the index of the element which is inside the nested array. So in our case, it is 54 which is located inside the square bracket. Now let's first summarize what we have done till now. We have used a for loop to iterate over to get the nested array location. Once we get that, we have again used a for loop to check whether the current element is equal to the element to be searched. If yes, then we have returned its index. Now here I have used two for loops. It's totally up to you to optimize the function and reduce the time complexity. So here now if the condition does not satisfy, that means if the current element is not of the type list, then we will move to the else block and we will check whether the current element is equal to the element to be searched inside the outer array only. If so, then the element is not at all located inside the nested array, it's located inside the outer array. So in that case, there will be only one parameter to represent that particular element. Hence we have written else return the index of the element found at the outer array. Now we will call the function with the parameter arr and the variable find. So let's check. So we have executed the code and you can see that we have got an output that the element is found at the location arr of 2. Inside that we have got it at index 1. Now let's try to change the value of the variable find, and let's say we need to find for the element 55 which is located at location 2 inside the nested array which is located at index 2. So yes, we have got the correct result. Similarly, we can search for the element 4 which is located outside the nested array. So you can see that we have got the correct result that the element is found at index 5. So our code works very fine. So I hope the logic is clear. Now here in this code we have only dealt with the nested array inside a single outer array. There might be a case that you may come across multiple nested arrays. So for that you can design the code with the help of the same logic. Now let's see how we can access the elements inside the nested arrays. We will be seeing multiple examples in which multiple nested arrays are there, and we can try to access every element inside it. So let's define an array variable inside which we are going to initiate a nested array in which there are multiple nests. So you can see that at index 4 we have our first nest inside the outer array. Now at that particular index 4 we are going to again nest one more array inside that nested array, which is at index 1 inside the outer array. So let's execute this and let's print the nested array. So you can see that we have successfully initiated a nested array with multiple nests. Now let's try to access the elements inside it. For now, let's try to access the element 232. You can see that the location 4 contains the array inside which the element 232 is located. So first we need to reach at location 4. Now inside location 4 we have two elements. First is 312 and second is an array. So then we need to reach inside that array, which is at location 1. Now inside that array at location 1 we have to search for the element 232, which is located at index 0. So first we moved to array location 4. Inside that location 4 we moved to location 1. Inside that location 1 we moved to location 0, and therefore we have accessed the element 232 successfully. Now let's say we need to search for the element 312 inside the array. So you can see that first we have 4 elements, and next at location 4 we have an array. Inside that array we have two elements. One is 312 and second is the array. So first we need to move to the location 4. Once we move to it, then we need to look for the index 0 where the element 312 is located, and this is how we can access the element 312. I hope this is clear. You can play with multiple such questions. Now let's see how we can perform insertion operation inside this nested array. Let's take an example of this nested array which we have stored in the variable arr. Now let's say we need to insert an element at this particular location where 34 is located. So first step is to reach to that particular location. So let's see. So first we have an element at location 0, then at location 1 we have an element, then we have a nested array at location 2. So let's go there. At location 2 we have this particular array. Now inside this array we have an element 2 at location 0. At location 1 we have an array. Let's write that. Inside that array we again have elements. At location 0 we have 43, at location 1 we have 45, and at location 2 we have again one array. So let's write that. And now inside location 2 we have to insert an element at position 0. So we will use an inbuilt function which is there inside the Python. So we will call that dot insert, and then the parameter will be the index. So at index 0 we need to insert. First we have gone to the location of that array, and then we have called the insert function. First parameter will be the location and second parameter will be the element that is to be inserted. And yes, we have got the element inserted successfully at that particular location. So this is the way to insert any element inside any position inside nested array. It's little difficult to find out the position, but once you get the position, then you just have to call the insert function. Now let's have a look at the other operation that can be performed on arrays, which is deletion of a specific element inside the array. So the steps are quite same. First we need to find out the location, and then we need to call the delete function so that we can delete that particular element inside that array. So now let's say we need to delete this entire array which is nested inside the outer array. First we need to find out the location of that particular nested array, which is inside the array located at index 2. Now inside index 2, again we have one more array located at index 1, so we have written it. Now after that we have element 43 at index 0, element 45 at index 1, and element array at index 2. So again we will write the parameter 2. Now we will use a del keyword which will delete the entire array. So hence you can see that the nested array has got deleted successfully. You can play with more such questions, generate your own ideas, generate your own nested arrays, and try to delete or insert elements inside the array. Now it's time to perform an exercise. So we have an exercise for you. Here we have an array which contain multiple nests. You can see that the given array is quite complex. So now you need to perform all these functions on that particular given array. First you need to write the location of the element 3344. So you need to write the location of this particular element 3344 in the format which we have seen. Next you need to write the location of the element 656. And after this you need to write the code to insert the element after the element 4543. So the element 4543, you need to find the location of that first, and once you found out the location, next you need to insert an element just after it. The last question is to write a code to delete the entire array after the element 3232. So try to solve this assignment. This exercise will surely help you out to practice more for this concept. Post your answers in the comment section, or you can also generate a link of your IPYNB file and paste the link inside the comment section. If you have any further queries, you can post it in the comment section. I'll be happy to solve that. And for more such videos, like, share and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to never miss any updates. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. Thank you for watching.